Personally, I think the hardest part of buying or pre-ordering a new console is dropping out of school or divorcing your spouse so you have enough free time to play. No, the hardest part of pre-ordering a new console is the unknown. What's it going to be like in a year, 2 years after its release? Will it be more of a PlayStation 4 with hundreds of solid games and consistent updates? Or will it be more of a Wii U with only a select few titles worth playing and a lifespan of 4 years? Seriously, the Wii U is no longer being manufactured, or really supported even, by Nintendo just 4 years after its release. But at least it lasted longer than the Sega Dreamcast. Compare the Wii U's 4-year lifespan to the Xbox 360, which was produced and supported for around 11 years and had hundreds of awesome games. Gotta be careful. Anyway, I'm gonna break down exactly what the Switch's strengths and weaknesses are, and all of its features, along with a complete pricing breakdown of the Switch and its accessories. By the end of this video, you're gonna be an expert on the Nintendo Switch. You're gonna have the best possible understanding of the console and whether or not it's for you. You don't need some fake journalism gaming site spreading its phony baloney clickbait telling you what to like and what not to like. You already know what you like, you just need the facts. First off, let's talk money. The price of the Switch is $300, which is a little tough for people to swallow thanks to the false rumors that it would be around $250. Don't take rumors as facts, people, please. While it may seem steep at first, considering that you can get a new Xbox One or PlayStation 4 with a game or two at a lower price than $300, it's really not expensive if you consider that adjusted for inflation, the Switch is the 4th cheapest console ever, the first being the GameCube. Why didn't anyone love you like I did? That $300 is going to get you the Nintendo Switch portable console, the dock that converts it into a home console, Joy-Con motion controllers, and a grip that converts them into a regular large home console controller. But surprisingly, the Joy-Con charging grip, which also charges your Joy-Cons while you play, is sold separately for $30. The included grip does not charge the Joy-Con controllers. But the Joy-Cons have a 20-hour battery life, and since you're probably not going to play for 20 hours straight,
because you're casual,
just remember to put the Joy-Cons where they belong when you're done playing and you'll be fine. And of course, the two included Joy-Con controllers can be used for local 2-player multiplayer. Basically, you get a Nintendo home console and a portable console in one, with 2-player local multiplayer right out of the box. Comparing this to the prices of other brand new consoles like the Xbox One or PS4 at launch, this is pretty fair. Also, the 3DS was $250 at launch. But also factor in that by default, Switch is not bundled with any games, like Wii Sports for example. It's launching like the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 did, so you'll need to buy at least one game in order to use it, so add another $40 to $60 right there. The Switch has 32 gigabytes of internal memory. As someone unfortunate enough to have a 16 gigabyte smartphone, don't ever buy a 16 gigabyte smartphone. I can tell you right now, that's not crap. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild takes up roughly 40% of the 32 gigabyte internal memory if you buy it digitally. This means you can have maybe around 2 to 3 digital games stored on the Switch by default. After that, you're going to run out of space and need to expand the console's memory by purchasing and installing a micro SD XC card. It should be noted, however, you can play the games from the cartridge if you buy it physically, just like you could on a Nintendo 64. This is also kind of how the 3DS worked. Basically, you won't need much memory at all if you buy games physically. If you're a fan of buying games digitally, set aside an additional $20 to $40 for more memory. Finally, in order to play online multiplayer and use online lobbies and voice chat, you're going to need to pay a monthly fee just like on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. This is going to be free until fall of 2017, so you'll have time to try it out before paying anything, making sure you like that service. And I'm going to have more details on this later on in the video too. Games. We already know of at least 58 games being developed for the Nintendo Switch releasing throughout 2017 and 2018. If you'd like details on all of those titles, check out my video breaking down all the games for the Nintendo Switch. Link will be in the description, comments, and at the end of this video. Anyway, I'll get into games sort of in this video too, but what about the future of the console? What kind of potential does Switch's tech have for games in development and those future games that have not yet been announced? You gotta make sure you're getting your money's worth out of your console a year, 2 years, 3 years after buying it. That's very important stuff. A huge feature for families and people with friends is that right out of the box, you got 2-player local multiplayer without needing to buy another controller, and that goes for both the docked home version and the undocked portable version. You can also connect up to 8 switches for LAN play. This is something that no other console is focusing on. Local 2, 3, 4-player multiplayer, LAN play where you can wirelessly connect up to 8 switches to play together, and Nintendo said it's up to the developers to force every single switch in LAN play to need a cartridge, otherwise one cartridge is shared between all of them. Honestly, all of that stuff, plus the fact that Nintendo seems to be doubling down on the Nintendo-ness of the console and its games, those are the strongest selling points. Instead of having a 4th redundant port of the yearly Call of Battlefield shooter, you have experiences and games that nothing else can offer. That is the main reason to consider the Switch. When it's docked, the Switch is going to run most games at a resolution of either 1080p 60fps or 900p 60fps. Portable, it'll have a resolution of 720p with 60fps and the possibility of some titles being 30fps, docked or undocked. The 6.2-inch multi-touch capacitive touchscreen on the console has a resolution of 1280 by 720p, and battery life for the Switch is going to average between 3 and 6 hours depending on the games you play, which is slightly better than the 3DS, especially considering the games you can play at 720p 60fps on that size of a screen, compared to the Nintendo 3DS's small screen and really basic games in comparison to the Switch's games. If the battery's depleted, the Switch is going to need to be recharged for around 3 hours to reach max charge. Each Joy-Con has a battery life of roughly 20 hours, and the charge time for them is around 3 hours as well. If you don't have a Joy-Con charging grip, you're going to need to charge your Joy-Cons by inserting them into your docked console. Also, the Pro Controller has a battery life of 40 hours and roughly takes 6 hours to reach maximum charge. On a side note, batteries charge quickly at first, but more slowly as they reach maximum charge. You can see this with your smartphone. Tech time! Alright, Joy-Cons. Aside from being a transforming console, this is probably the biggest innovation for the Switch and will definitely shape a lot of its games. Technically speaking, these things are pretty impressive. There are 3 main ways to play with Joy-Cons: connected to the console, kind of like the Wii U gamepad, or connected to the grip as a single controller, kind of like the Pro Controller, or one in each hand utilizing motion controls, or a single Joy-Con per person for local multiplayer. One of the more advanced features of the Joy-Con is HD rumble technology for advanced haptic feedback. This isn't a simple vibration feature of normal controllers. Sometimes gameplay is going to hinge on it, like in 1-2 Switch for example. The HD rumble should be so advanced that you should be able to simulate holding a glass and feeling a single ice cube fall inside of it, and then being able to rattle that around, and then having a second ice cube and a third ice cube fall inside of it, and being able to tell the difference. But I'm gonna let the Japanese company that Nintendo has a joint patent with on HD rumble haptic feedback explain it better than I can.
こういった形でですね、重たいものをぐーっと伸ばす時のバネの感触、重たいものをぐーっと持ち上げる感じ、下に引っ張り戻される感じ、そういったものを感じることができます。あたかも本当にバネを伸ばしている感。そしてちょっと上の方でふわふわやっていただくとふわんふわんといった感じですね。この浮遊感というのも味わうことができます。次はぐーっと押し込んでいくと下からこの水が吹き上げているような反発感というのを味わうことができます。もしくは磁石と磁石がこの反発するような感じ、そういった感じを味わう体感することができます。で下までぐーっと押し込むとですね、次はこのぐーっと硬いもの、何か硬いゴムがあるかのような感触を得ることもできます。でもここが本当に限界の感じで、もうこれより手が下に行かないと、そういった感触ですね。で実際にはこのよく考えてみればこうずっと下に落とせるんですけれども、弊社のその技術をやるとあたかもここに硬いものがあってもう下に行かないような、そういった感触が体感することができます。
All in all, the technology of the Switch is absolutely genius, and Nintendo really knows what they're doing because the battery life that you have with the portable Switch is really stupendous. The battery life in the tiny little Joy-Con controllers is incredible. Same with the Pro Controller. Battery life with Nintendo seems better than any other company. And that's not even going into all the reasons why the Switch is technically advanced. And before I see comments on this video that are like, but it can't play Battlefield 1, graphics bad. Like I said previously, this is not a console meant for the most realistic looking games. That is not the only measure of what makes a particular console's hardware technologically advanced. Okay, it's time to move on to other important things. It's time to talk about the paid online access pass, Nintendo's Xbox Live and PS Plus, and to dispel some misconceptions about the pricing of accessories. I'm going to ask you guys to set aside emotions, to set aside the circle jerks, and all the articles that you may have read or seen, or all of these journalistic websites, or gaming journalism websites, or gaming journalism YouTube channels have just been tripping over themselves, rushing to get that view money on how everything with Nintendo Switch is horribly overpriced and it's the end of the world and it's just the worst thing ever and they're literally Hitler, literally Satan. I want you guys to set all that aside for just a minute. Become robots. Without emotion or feelings, just looking at things objectively and looking at the facts. Let me be your voice of reason. So, the price for the Joy-Cons, both the left and right Joy-Con, is $70. Hold your horses, it's really not that expensive. Compare the price of the PlayStation Move Controller 2-pack at $100. These things are not technologically advanced, not even close to the Joy-Cons. And they came out years and years ago for the PlayStation 3, but Sony has kept the price up because of PSVR. Objectively, that's dog doo-doo. And it stinks. You could also compare this to the Wii Motion Plus controllers. When they launched, they were $40 for a single controller. You're basically getting two mini Wii Motion Plus controllers with way more advanced tech for the same price. Besides that, if you purchase the basic standard Switch and then a Nintendo Joy-Con, you now have 4-player local multiplayer for tons of games. Now what could be pricey is if you want an additional grip for them as well. But you could just use the Switch Pro controller if you'd like to focus on local 2-player multiplayer. The Pro controller feels as expensive as a PS4 controller to me. For only $10 more, the Pro controller has motion control and advanced haptic feedback thanks to the HD Rumble tech. And for those of you in the UK who aren't happy about the price due to crazy currency conversion, it seems to be that Nintendo is projecting that when the plan for Brexit is announced, the pound could possibly drop to the level of the dollar, as other companies also anticipate. As for the online pass, we don't have many details yet. If you follow me on Twitter or are subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'll let you know when there's information. But although we don't know the price, Reggie has said that they're committed to being the affordable option. Now, that phrasing is very interesting. He also said that they want it to be family accessible as well to gamers and fans. So I would guess it's going to be priced competitively to PSN and Xbox Live, maybe a little less, and it should be shared throughout a household, so you just need one pass or one subscription for the entire household of gamers. The bad news is that you need to be subscribed to play most multiplayer games. Nintendo website mentions that some games won't require a subscription to play online, probably MMOs like on PS4. People have been complaining for a long time now that they wanted an overhaul to Nintendo's online multiplayer system. And this is it. Here you go. This is the most viable way for companies to have good online systems for their platforms. Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. Obviously, I would rather have it be free. Why not? I want everything to be cheaper or free, but I understand why Nintendo as a business would make this choice, as every other business has made this choice on their platforms. They are not open platforms like computer, you gotta remember that. At least the subscription is going to be free for a few months, until fall of 2017, so you can see if it's worth it, and Nintendo can test the brand new system, make sure they iron out all the kinks. The pass is also going to have a PS Plus, Xbox Live-esque feature of giving you games each month, but you can only get them for the month. It's basically like giving you a free month-long rental instead of free games. Now, I do not agree with that. I just don't. There's no reason for that. They're probably doing this because there's going to be a lot of first-party Nintendo titles, and they don't decrease in value like PlayStation or Xbox. They actually get more expensive. Try buying Super Smash Bros. For the GameCube on eBay. It's expensive as hell. Another downside is you need to be subscribed to use voice chat lobbies, but you have to use those through the smartphone app. Finally, the subscription will give you exclusive deals for the eShop, similar to PS Plus and Xbox Live. It is unknown at this time whether or not the Virtual Console purchases from the Wii U or Wii will transfer over to the Switch, but keep in mind a lot of digitally purchased Xbox 360 and PS3 titles didn't transfer over to the Xbox One and PS4 either, so don't think Nintendo would be the first one to do this. Speaking of the Virtual Console, when asked about the GameCube being added, Reggie had this to say: I joined the company as GameCube was ending its life, and as we look at the install base of the platform, certainly it's not one of our higher install base platforms, and yet it seems the talk now is all about consumers are hoping that there's a GameCube virtual console, which I just find interesting. And I find that quote fascinating. Anyway, to summarize, local multiplayer anywhere! Wreck your coworkers and classmates on lunch breaks. That's pretty sick. Having a home console and a portable console in one is pretty sweet. And having that portable console be smaller than a Wii U gamepad with a larger screen and being able to play home console games it's amazing. And having local 2-player multiplayer out of the box and on the go. Fantastic. Whether it's going to be as good as it seems now, in person March 3rd across the world, I don't know. But it's Nintendo, so it probably will be. Whether it's going to remain as awesome as it seems, whether it's going to have great games and great support, it looks like Nintendo knows what they're doing this time around. They're focusing on a lot of killer apps, so to speak, giving people what they want. Between this Legend of Zelda game and Super Mario Odyssey, looks like we're going to get a lot more first-party titles. And we're probably going to be getting those awesome first-party titles every few months instead of every 6 months or every year. Regardless, that's all you need to know about the Switch. If you'd like to know more about its games, or more about all video games in 2017 and 2018, I got videos on that as well. There's going to be links overlaid on top of the video right now that you can click on. And if you enjoyed, leave a like. Join our YouTube family by subscribing. We do all kinds of videos like this, and we do live streams as well. But until next time, game massively, and take care.